Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working on a 5.7 350 MAG Bravo ECM. It's a Mer Cruiser coming from Canada. Steve Tower, this is your computer. He's concerned, no fuel pump operation. All right, so we're going to establish that, and actually I have the computer connected and running. Yes, from there you can see right here next to what I'm pointing right now, this here, I put that sticker in there so you can see where the fuel pump should be working, and it's off. The computer is running. I'm going to show you the diagram and the meter so you can see the 5-volt reference in there. Let me make that window probably a little bigger so you guys can read what I'm about to show you, because sometimes a little too small. I bring it down. Sorry about that. All right, so diagram. Since I'm the only, it's the only thing probably that I'm going to be showing you. Come on. I'm going to move it to there. Yeah, I think probably you'll be able to see better. I wish the letters will be bigger, but that's all I can give you. Because I don't want to be too big, and then in the next capture, yeah, you still can see the computer in there. I actually use now a different test light for the IAC, the idle air control valve, so we can have it next to the computer. This is an ECM0402. Calibration is I'll show you that in the report. So let me open his folder, which I had open, but I think I closed it. So very quick. Give me just 2 seconds to get the folder open. Deep down right here. So let me move those away just for a second so I can show you everything that I have gathered for him, as I normally do. So this is just so you can see the computer closer. Again, it's an ECM0402, and I cleaned it because it was full of oil, sticky. So definitely, please try to clean your computer. This is a repair facility and not a mechanic shop. So you can send the components a little better for me to work. Sometimes they're dirty. I keep it in the box and I send it back. So yeah, calibration is 864377-05 from May 03, 5.7 Bravo. You can see all that I'm reading is in here. That is, if I go and collect the system information, it tells me all that. I read the full history. Things that I want to bring to your attention, Steve, is battery voltage. Very, very problematic. This boat has 836.65 hours right now, and I have not changed that on the diagram. If I go over to the data, temperature, come on, it's 158, and the coolant, the air temperature 60.8. Those are my 2 control pits. I usually keep those across the board, and to see what faults are mine and which faults are his, right? Because sometimes I set up faults when I'm connecting the computer, which is not abnormal. We can definitely see, those are seconds of fault history. 1,211 seconds of horn output, 1,453 of starboard overheating, low oil pressure strategy, 45 seconds, 320 seconds of guardian strategy, and then 10 seconds of battle range low. So again, 366.65. So this is definitely a latest on him, because look at the temperature right here, 69 and 66. So this is definitely not mine. Guardian strategy, the engine is at 756 RPMs running, and it has 0% available power. So this is caused by something. So let's keep reading up. Again, we have the same hours. Temperatures about the same. Running and idle. Low oil pressure strategy. But look at it's running at 726. And we have 11 volts of battery. The same thing in the Guardian strategy before. Look at the battery voltage with the engine running, 10.74. This is definitely a problem. I need to open the computer, see if it's a problem inside as far as, you know, water or something. I don't see it. The computer is running. I definitely see no fuel pump, and we will test that more in depth. Let me just finish with this analysis. All right, let's keep going up. Same hours. This is a PTUD. So these happen here, and we can see it immediately. Look at the temperatures. These are my temperatures. I can disregard this one, and we can see the battery voltage correct. So definitely not his. Steering, same thing. Temperatures, I can disregard that one. Trim, look at the temperatures. That's mine. This is also mine. Fuel level circuit. Look at the temperatures. 8365. C temp circuit high. This is his. Look at the air temperature and the coolant temperature. But look at the battery voltage, 11.76. So he definitely has a problem with the battery. Something is either shorting out on the harness. You got a bad ground. Something is not right. And I mean the C pump, C temperature circuit high. A little hard to know what was happening in here because it's after an engine install, and we got 100% available power. All right, let's keep going up. Fuel relay circuit high, and this is happening here. Look at fuel relay circuit. These are my temperatures. It has 100% power, but the fuel pump is definitely not working. TPS circuit low. Look at the temperatures, and this is not really that far away from coming in here. 836. What was the latest? Yeah, like 2 minutes before coming in here. We can see, look at the manifold temperature reading 32 degrees. That's impossible. I mean, this has to be not far away from us as far as time-wise. So unless he kept it on a freezer, I don't see how that temperature could be possible. So this is sounding more and more like a harness issue. And if the problem is, I corrected the computer, I fixed the computer, but then he doesn't fix the boat, connects it back, burns it, and there's nothing I can do. At least the battery voltage wasn't so bad in here, 12.52. Available power, again, 0%. What else we got in here? C pump circuit low. And these are his, because look at the temperatures, 2 minutes or so before coming in here. The battery voltage is not so bad after a stall, so something is going on. Hard to say. In this one, he had 90% available power. And it's pretty much the same time, right? So 836, 63, 836, 63. How can you go from 90% to 0 and then having this? Were they disconnecting something, or is it short in the harness? That's the only thing I can assume, right? So now if we read the fault, we can see the fuel relay circuit code is active. IAC output code is inactive, and that probably happened because I unplugged the IAC to do a test in here. So let's erase all this. I'm going to erase the fault history because then I now save that for him. So I'm going to erase that. We can read fault codes. We can see the NOx sensor is active. The fuel pump relay circuit is active, but that's about it. We have 90% available power, which that is not bad, but the pump is not running. All right, so let me move you over to this view. I'm going to, let me put the pico, not the pico, the diagram and the meter, so you can see that it's running. And let me show you the RPMs. 1 second. One is good enough, right? I'm going to turn them off. You see the engine is off. Like I'm going to completely turn them off. So ignition off. And we're losing the communication. Let me get the other one in here. Probably, no, it's not showing it. Oh yeah, we're lost synchronization. I'm going to turn the ignition back on, but look at the fuel pump. You see, it came on. It did come on. So why it's not working when it's running? Sure that nothing is affecting my readings. The boat is running. Yeah, I mean, it has to because we have everything connected. But when it runs, there is no fuel pump. Huh. That is very, very odd. Because it does the prime. Keep an eye in here. So it does the fuel pump prime, but it doesn't work when it's running. And I get injectors, I get everything else is good. Why is it not working? So let's go over to test. I'm going to turn the RPM off. With Rinda, I can command the fuel pump relay on and off, and it's not working. Hopefully you see that. I'm going to try one more time, see what it says. It should be on and off at the same thing as the red button comes on, but it times out really quickly. See, something, it's not like it. So we can definitely reproduce. Something is weird on this computer. So let me open it up and see if we have a pause of water or something, because that could also explain all those other low voltages and everything if the problem is not in the board. But we'll see in a second. So let me open this computer and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I opened the computer. It's actually clean, no water, no. Let me show you that. Those fingerprints are mine when I open it. I put my hands in there to clean because there was actually oil in this seal, like a lot of oil around the computer. Not internally, but around. I don't see any moisture or anything. So this is going to be me starting to do my magic and start to poke around to see what I need to replace and repair. But to see if it's possible, I will have to do the repair. These are specifically signals that can come from the microprocessor, and that could also still be a possibility. So let me do that, and I'll be right back, guys. Well, guys, not a really happy ending with this computer either. So I tried and replace every single component that takes part of the fuel pump activation. And it's kind of odd that, you know, when you cycle the key, the fuel pump does the prime, but you cannot control with the scanner. And you cannot, and it doesn't run when the vehicle or the engine is running. So yeah, the problem is actually directly coming from whatever the microprocessor signal goes over to the IC that is taking place on there. And I did replace the components just in case it was something like electrically that it was the computer didn't like. But no, I mean, all the components are brand new and it still is doing exactly the same thing. I'm going to cycle the key again. Keep an eye here. Pull prime, no issues. Then as soon as it runs, the computer runs and it's set up. The horn is actually coming on and off. Well, now it's stopped, but there is no fuel pump. And it's nothing I can do. Like I said, it is very odd. I have not seen this. Give me 1 second. I wanted to connect. I guess we're going to have to guess if you guys are seeing that. I'm going to connect to Diacom again. Let me put them in your screen. Let me get also an RPM pit so you can guys see that it is indeed running. And I just want to keep an eye myself in there so we can both see it together. But no fuel pump. Again, if I turn it off and I go over to the test, which is something that should work. It sucks that I cannot see this. Let me see if it affects. It does affect a little bit, but not so much. I need to be able to see that you guys are seeing it. So I'm going to perform first a fuel pump test, and you can see how it aborts it immediately. If if I do the warning buzzer, which is right here, I'm going to point it. The other one is the main power relay, which is on, but look at the warning buzzer. When I'm doing that, you see that cycling on and off right here. See, that's the buzzer is doing good. I can even do the IX, which if I move you to here, this is the IX substituted value. When I run that test, I can increase, and you can see how now that this light is getting, you know, brighter. Let me turn this off. You see, it is commanded on. I can go down, and everything is working good, but the fuel pump, it kicks me out instantly. It tries to do this, then it stops. And that is something internally in the microprocessor, something maybe under the microprocessor is shorted and things that I cannot see. And that will deem for me as not repairable. At least I cannot repair it with everything that I have done. And I'm not going to spend much more time on here because it's first not fair for the customer, and again for myself as well, because all I will be testing in here or charging the customer in here is a test. All I can recommend to Steve is to run a separate relay with the main power relay. You can do that activation, like that is only going to be on when the computer is on, because you can put a switch. I mean, it's the only solution that I can think of that is less expensive than replacing the computer that otherwise is running good. But the fuel pump circuit, I already, like I said, replaced everything, and there's nothing else I can do with this. All right, guys, sorry it's not a good resolution. I always try to, you know, do as much as possible to help the customers, but again, it's a point that we need to stop and just be truthful to ourselves as well. And this is what I'm doing in here. All right, guys, thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.